Hi everybody, Andy the Crumpet, aka Andrew Spencer from Raised in Press here with you, and I've got a short story for you today called Lunar Ticks. This is a fun little one about the moon. Ooh. The psychiatric ward in which I am detained behaves like the tides. At 7 a.m, the fridges are unlocked and the patients wash in. At 8 a.m, the medication window opens and the patients wash out. Orderlies create eddies in the dining room. Security and nursing staff bob on the ocean of our collective insanity. They watch us silently, always with their backs against the walls. They maintain the status quo. I wash past the junkies lined up for their methadone, past the paranoids with their accusing eyes, past the scars and the tweets and the whoops. The hall funnels me into the dining room. I am greeted by a sea of scruffy faces, smeared with sauces, many bloated from their medications. There is nothing dignified about the state of this sterile room, juxtaposed with the grubby patrons, many dour faces that urgently needed a napkin. Why am I here? I wonder. And then, over here! I turn to leave when a voice catches me. A small hand wags over the din and clutter of plastic cutlery. Zooey. My chain-smoking nihilist wardmate waves like a drowning sailor. I navigate through the noise and slip into the seat that she saved for me. I saved you a seat, Zooey smiles, exposing a deep blue-green bruise curving across the tropic line of her throat. I smile back. Thank you, Zooey. I was waiting for you. I thought we could go together. Go together? I ask, thinking she means the window where we get our rainbow pills that they make us take in the morning. I think of them as gravity pills, but Zooey claims they make her float. To see the lunar eclipse, silly! Oh yeah, sure, I say nonchalantly. Zooey's smile threatens to crack off her face as her eyes swell with emotion. Yay! She claps. Following breakfast, Zooey and I take our foam cup coffee and rolled cigarettes to the outer courtyard. The moon is an opaque shadow in the pale morning sky. So is that it? I point to the burgeoning round disc. That's it, Zooey repeats. Zooey and I have differing opinions on the moon. Zooey is into astrology. She takes her cues from the celestial clockwork above, whilst I believe in more nefarious celestial workings, what my psychiatrist would call conspiracy. It's going to be a very powerful event, a very fertile time. Her voice wavers. I mean to plant seeds of good fortune, opportunity, to wrestle with hope. I didn't mean... Zooey is embarrassed. She works some matches. Light, damn it! And gestures for the matchbox. Light! I'll join you for the eclipse, but you must at least consider my argument, I say. You know I'm close to the truth. I don't know, Alex. If I start on that road, I may never come back. The moon can't be real, I bolster. It just can't be. It's not possible. Alex, remember where we are, okay? Yeah, I wave her off. You're the one who invited me. Zooey doesn't believe my theory. I've tried to bring her round to the truth. Zooey is more accepting of my ideas than the doctors in here. And I always try to educate people in phases, the truth being too big to see all at once. You can't just blot out someone's reality like the coming eclipse will blot out the sun. You must be gradual about it, like a blood moon, slow and gradual until the truth is clear to see. Where's Zooey? Zooey's all about the distance of space, the dead vacuum and the pointlessness of dreaming beyond it. A real challenge when you're trying to make an argument for the conscious placement of celestial bodies in their convenient orbits by unnamed entities beyond any human comprehension. I light 2 cigarettes and pass one to Zooey. Thanks, she says. Like every other morning, Zooey has her newspapers with her. She loves to laugh at what she calls the facts printed in the mainstream zeitgeist. This routine habit is what sparked our friendship. When I told her that I know that what they print is most certainly not facts. Zooey struggles to hold on to happiness in this life. She's a nihilist and often suicidal. Reviewing the so-called facts and calling them out is the one thing Zooey has in her life that makes her laugh. She has a bright laugh that rarely escapes her black hole mind. She's very jaded and almost as paranoid as me. Sometimes Zooey gets carried away, and she catches me up in her whirlwind of thoughts. Zooey believes, and I agree, that everything written in the newspapers is bullshit. The television that plays 24/7 news cycles is just as bad, and our discussions are always deep. We don't waste time on trivialities. We have debates that spill out into our group sessions that make the schizophrenics curl up and start to cry, and infuriate our session mentor. Zooey opens the newspaper in front of her face in an attempt to ignore me. Clearly, she's trying to avoid landing in the craters left from our last moon-related conversation. It's not going to work. There's a total solar eclipse coming. I don't think Zooey realizes her newspaper is front to back full of stories about the coming eclipse. I almost want to point this out to her, but she'll soon enough work it out for herself. Right there on the front page, in bold black print, reads the headline, "Total Eclipse. Blink and you'll miss it." Ominous heading, I say, ribbing Zooey with my elbow lightly. Whatever. Zooey tears the article out of the paper and lights it with her cigarette. The ragged square of paper begins to disappear in a curl of smoke. Hey, I was going to read that. Oh, shush, she says. You sound like a 3-year-old. And she's right. I shouldn't be angry. It's quite typical for people to deny truths they find confronting. Some people will even lash out violently if their worldview is challenged. It's called cognitive dissonance. I had a similar moment with Dr. Allison in my Tuesday morning session. I told her about the impossible coincidences and strange facts surrounding our lunar sister. I used scientific reason and an apple to demonstrate my beliefs. Couldn't have made it any clearer. By the end of the session, Dr. Allison seemed unsteadied. I put it to her. How can we put a man on the moon? How? Dr. Allison kept her face deadpan as she said to me with her frank and clinical tone, "Mr. Spender, I'm here to help you overcome your delusions, not debate their factual validity." What does that even mean? How can a delusion have factual validity? Is she saying that I imagined the Van Allen radiation belt? Either I'm crazy or I'm not. I believe there's something massive going right in front of us, right above us, and I'm certain of it. These doctors keeping me in this place just proves that I'm onto something. I think you're delusional, Zooey badgers. I'm not delusional. I'm critical. Always question why. Isn't that what you always say? The article continues to burn. Zooey lets the flames reach her finger. Bits of ash take off weightless into the air. We both watch as the ash floats up and out of the courtyard, which brings our line of sight back to our initial subject. The moon sits pregnant in the morning sky. Well, there's a solar eclipse coming. That's a fact, I conclude. I know, says Zooey. They're making us viewers in art therapy. She screws her face up in mockery. The greatest coincidence in the universe, and we're going to watch it through a toilet roll. Hurrah, I say. Hurrah, Zooey returns, unamused. We raise our cigarettes in high toast. They put me in the psych ward because I'm an upstart, because I refused to go with the quo. I spoke up and the system cut me down. Somebody somewhere didn't like what I was doing, and with the stroke of a pen, I was committed to this place. They claim I am unwell, but I know the truth. I'm here because I looked too deeply into the mysterious relationship between the moon and the sun, and I found the answers. I'm not crazy. Not when the sun and the moon share such impossible coincidence. Sometimes I feel like I am crazy, trying to get others to see what is so obvious to me. Above us all, these two random objects fit so perfectly, too perfectly, for nature to have set such luck into orbit. The moon makes all of life on Earth possible. The moon is in perfect ratio to the sun and at the exact distance it needs to be to not only create an impossible eclipse, but also to keep the tides and the debris from sweeping across the face of this rock. How did the moon get to doing this? Is anyone's guess. My theory is no less valid than any space agency. Sure, I might have let my hygiene go a little during my marathon YouTubing research phase. And maybe I shouldn't have drove down to the local community radio station. And I certainly shouldn't have entered the sound booth and grabbed the microphone off the DJ and started ranting. But the truth must be said. I noticed Zooey staring at me like I was a creature from Mars. The cigarette she was holding had burnt down to the filter, leaving a long tusk of ash. She stubbed it out and started wrestling with the matches again. This is serious, Zooey, I say. The rabbit hole goes deep. Zooey stops me. Alex, you sound crazy. You need to tone it back. Tone it back? Tone it back? I scoff. You sound like Dr. Allison. She cuts me off. Yes, Dr. Allison. She'd asked me not to come back to session until I'm ready to accept certain realities. Realities? Zooey gives me a puzzled look. Realities, I say. Dr. Allison's frustrated at me because I used science against her. People like Dr. Allison live their whole lives by the book. They ascribe that things are the way they are, and that's the way things are. Everything is by the book. If the book says that that's it, then that's it. If something doesn't fit, it doesn't exist. Out of sight, out of mind, until... And I point up. The moon looks like a pale sand crab trying to bury itself in the vast expanse of sky. How can I be crazy? The evidence is right here, in plain sight. Zooey runs her fingers up into a sea of curl and jams her palms into her eye sockets. Wearily she asks, "What do you think it all means?" I don't know, Zooey. Once we're ready to understand the truth, we will look at the moon and realize the truth. But not right now. Not yet. We sit for a moment, both looking up. Zooey speaks first. There's something magical about her. I mean, every human soul to have ever lived has gazed upon the moon. Like a watchful parent, she's always been there. Zooey, my friend, did you know that the moon is tidal locked to the Earth? It's the only body in the solar system that doesn't rotate. Yep, we only see one side, and they say there's alien bases on the dark side of the moon, and that's why humans didn't go back. We spend years and years trying to get to the moon, and once we did it, we just stopped? Bullspit. Humans don't stop. Zooey leans in and whispers conspiratorially, "What did they find up there?" They'll never tell us. It might make us crazy. I wink. We sit in silence. Above us, the moon watches quietly. It seems so close. Close enough that you could reach up and pluck the truth from the sky. The end. And that is Lunatics by me, Andrew Spencer, for Raised Ink Press. And that one was inspired by the strange, weird coincidence that the moon is exactly 400 times smaller than the sun and exactly 400 times the distance from the sun to the earth, which makes it fit perfectly over the sun during an eclipse from our vantage point on earth, nowhere else, only from here. So a little bit weird, and I hope you enjoyed that one. Bye for now.